So for example, each night when we would move to the living room and put the website up on the TV and work through the horror that is website design. P.S. If this is your job, bless you. And also, can we talk? Hey there, my name is Vanessa Kaiser. I'm a ranch girl turned social worker turned business leader turned entrepreneur. I love to explore all things organization, leadership, growth, inspiration, and efficiency. There's a phrase we use a lot around here called rhythmic living, which I define as the continuous cycle of assessing what season of life we're in and how we create habits, routines, and processes that support our current season. This show is for business owners, leaders, mamas, aunties, sisters, and friends who want to grow and live inspired. Welcome to the Inspiring Heights podcast. If you've been around the podcast, social media, my email list, LinkedIn, my husband, my family, my friends, or me, you probably know that we have launched our first ever course Wednesday, October 23rd. If you've been feeling stretched thin, trying to juggle work and life and everything in between, listen up. My brand new course, The Productivity Playbook, Strategies for a Harmonious Life, is now live, and I created it with you in mind. This course is packed with practical tools to help you increase your productivity at work, build life-giving routines at home, and avoid that all too familiar burnout. You'll learn how to reclaim your time and find more balance, whether you're a professional powerhouse, managing a household, or doing both. And guess what? For a limited time, you can grab the course for just $69 using code LIVEPRESENT24. That's LIVEPRESENT, all one word, all capitals, and the numbers 24. But don't wait. This special price is only available until October 31st. So if you're ready to take control of your time and create a life that feels more aligned and less overwhelming, head to inspiringheights.org/courses to enroll today. You will also find this link and the coupon in the show notes. I can't wait to see you inside the course. In the event that you're like, I actually haven't heard about that, let me give you just a real brief synopsis. The Productivity Playbook, Strategies for a Harmonious Life, is a practical, down-to-earth guide for women who want to make the most of their time without feeling overwhelmed. The course combines simple, powerful strategies with relatable stories to help you navigate the demands of everyday life, whether you're balancing work, family, or personal interests. In the course, you will learn how to set meaningful routines, build effective boundaries, and make the time for what matters the most. This course has been a big first project as a new business owner, and it has been a wild ride. To start with, neither Ben nor I have ever created a course, so we experienced everything that comes with that newness. Researching and learning which platforms are best, writing content that matters, designing a workbook that is just right at least 15 times, designing social media ads, and so goes the list. Then, as life sometimes does, we've had some unexpected curveballs in the last couple of months. Fires, family stuff, job stuff, and while some of that has been incredibly great and some incredibly hard, all of it has taken time, attention, and energy. So, I kid you not when I say getting to course launch day seemed like an actual miracle. Once the course was launched and both Ben and I could let out the biggest sigh of excited relief, you know, the kind that comes when you've actually just done something that you wondered if you could really pull off, I took to processing everything that was this big season. What worked? What didn't? What were the challenges? What would I do the same? What would I do different next time? And while sorting through some of those thoughts and emotions of launch week, I realized that there are some key takeaways that apply to literally all of us during life's busy season, not just those of us in the midst of launching something new. Any time that we are going to be caught up in something more than normal, think anything from having a baby, launching a new program at work, directing the community Christmas pageant, there are tons of things that we can do to prepare. And most of us know that intellectually. That said, what we often neglect to do is to start preparing enough in advance that the preparation actually works. That is perhaps one of the biggest snags I ran into in the course launch. I had thought a lot this summer about what it would be like to be in launch season. I had plans for food prep, communication prep, and house prep, and honestly, nearly none of them came to fruition because my best laid plans didn't get put into place soon enough. So as we unpack these things, I want us to bear that in mind. They are only as helpful as they are executed, and they are only able to be executed if we start soon enough. All right, takeaway number 1. Mental and physical preparedness is incredibly helpful. As I mentioned before, we don't live in a place where DoorDash delivers, and the nearest Pizza Hut is over an hour away. So when it comes to mealtime, it is all on us. No takeout to the rescue in the Kaiser household. One of the things I will do next time that we find ourselves headed into one of those peak seasons is to put easy meal prep meals in the freezer. We for sure may do, and I was super thankful for some of the easy things that we did have in the freezer, like chicken korma sauce that just needed to be thawed and warmed over cooked meat. But this was certainly an area where I could have made life simpler if I had prepared ahead a bit more. And food isn't the only physical area worth considering. Making sure our space is preset the way we want it to can reduce distraction and stress. The week before launch week, we had been gone for several days. My course launch week self was so thankful that I was quick to unpack our suitcases and do laundry as soon as we got home. Mental preparedness also comes into play here. When we are hyper-focused on things and the deadline pressure is on, it seems like our brain wakes up in that very moment to everything else, important or not, that we need to do. I should really buy a different table for our kitchen coffee nook. Maybe I should design and print my own planner for next year. I wonder what I should get Sissy for Christmas. Those were all thoughts that plagued me during launch week. My secret? I have multiple sticky notes on my desk with every to-do that popped into my head. I knew I couldn't take care of those things right in that moment because otherwise this course would still not be launched. I also knew if I didn't get them out of my head that they would cause stress and distraction as I tried to hold them all. I had to mentally decide nothing outside of the course and necessary survival is getting done until after the launch. Deciding that in advance helps make it easier to make decisions in the moment. Because, as I'm sure you know, we get to make that decision over and over and over again throughout the course of any of our peak seasons. Preparing ahead both mentally and physically is like wiping the chalkboard clean in preparation for a mind-blowing lecture from your favorite professor. It feels really good, and it helps us joyfully anticipate what's ahead instead of dreading the stress that it might bring. Takeaway number 2. Take breaks or small moments to do quick resets to keep your space calm. During course launch week, we literally worked on 3 different computers. Like, you know, you're both a business owner and married to a computer guy when you even have 3 computers to work on. Am I right? But even so, there were a few things that Ben had to do on my computer, which in turn meant that I was free to do something else, not course related. I will tell you humbly that I took full advantage of that time to do things like wash the dishes, unload the dishwasher, cook dinner, tidy the couch, put stuff away that had gotten piled on the table, and so forth. And I am so glad I did. Every morning when I woke up and the kitchen wasn't a trailing disaster of the last 3 days of dishes in the sink and on the counter, I could breathe a little deeper. Sitting down at 9 p.m. to work on the website in the living room when the couch was reset and tidy wasn't so bad. We are all different in terms of what matters to us in our space. But knowing what those things are, you already know, you just need to keep them top of mind. And using the in-between moments to do them will help keep your space functioning the way that you need it to. Takeaway number 3, fuel your body well. Sometimes in the midst of a stressful season, there is this temptation to reach for convenient junk food that just sounds good. Trust me, I've been guilty of that. This time, though, I was much more thoughtful about how we were fueling our bodies. Preparing meals that were simple but full of good stuff, like veggies, meat, and of course cheese because, well, cheese warrants no explanation, helped keep us fueled and moving. It kept us from getting sluggish, which happens when Ben and I consume junky food. Listen, this is not a lecture on healthy eating. I'm not saying you can't have a chocolate bar and a third cup of coffee in the midst of a stressful season. Believe me, I have both. But knowing how our bodies respond to food and then feeding it with what makes us feel the most alive will serve us in these seasons. Takeaway number 4. Use your simple favorite things to keep you motivated. The week of the launch, we were working until about 10 p.m. each night. If you don't know this about me, I am a bit of a granny when it comes to bedtime, and this time of year, winding down for bed about 9 is my jam. And that usually includes shutting down my computer before dinner. But punch season calls for long days sometimes, right? One of the ways that I stayed on track and motivated for late night work sessions was to give myself something to look forward to. So for example, each night when we would move to the living room and put the website up on the TV and work through the horror that is website design. P.S. If this is your job, bless you. And also, can we talk? Anywho, each night as we transitioned into this task, I would make Ben and I a cup of the most delightful tea that my father-in-law got us hooked on. Tazo glazed lemon loaf tea. Y'all, I cannot recommend that stuff enough. It is so good. My point is this. I don't really love website design. It's stressful and it is way outside of my wheelhouse. Add that to the fact that it was literally past my bedtime when we were working on it, and I knew I needed an external motivator. My favorite tea served hot while we worked in our PJs with a cozy blanket made those late nights more bearable. It gave us something to look forward to, a bright spot. I think it's good to think ahead of a push season about what some of our favorite things are and make sure that we have them on hand. Getting a treat as we push through hard times just makes those things a little easier. I would contend to you here that it doesn't have to be food related either. Maybe think of your favorite album that you like to listen to, the candle that you love the scent of, your special PJs that you like to wear, a favorite coffee cup to drink out of, etc. Figuring out those small, special favorite things and making sure that there is a heavy dose of them throughout the full season just helps bring a little joy in. Takeaway number 5. This one is two-pronged. Set boundaries and let people know what to expect from you. Let's start with the latter. I've actually given this quite a bit of thought, and for as much as I thought about it, I thought I would be better at executing it. It makes oodles of sense to me to communicate with the people closest to you about what they can expect from you in the days leading up to the big event. For me, it was basically, I'm going to be incommunicado until Thursday. Love you. Thanks. Bye. Now, because I am a 7 to 10 business day friend, meaning I sometimes take the longest time to respond to a text message. Sorry, friends. It's just me. I do really love you. I don't think it came as a huge surprise to people to not hear from me for a few days. That said, there were a few places where I missed the mark on this communication and totally felt like a grade A jerk. Not because I think I could have extended myself to be a bunch more communicative during punch time, but rather because I wish I would have touched base and let them know that. Expectations extend past just how quick our friends expect a text response from us, too. It also includes our nuclear families and or roommates, i.e. anyone living in your home. Ben and I both knew that launch week was going to be full. It was marked in the calendar and nothing was allowed over the top of it. Being on the same page going into the week helped us set good expectations with one another and avoid hurt feelings and disappointments. The second problem of this takeaway is boundary setting. This one is a little trickier, but I think it's important to go there. I had to make an unexpected trip to town to grab some business stuff that I needed to complete the course launch on Tuesday, though I was super annoyed with myself for not grabbing this at a much more convenient time. The trip was good for my brain. In the quietness of the car ride, I was able to get honest about some of the angst that I was having around the course launch business details. We have so many people rooting for us, which is a huge blessing. And also, being asked to share business numbers with people can be a very uncomfortable spot to be in. I've hated it always, and I knew this time there would be even more pressure around it. And then I remembered, I'm in control of this. I can set some boundaries. And so I did. I let my people know what questions I would and wouldn't answer about course launch. It was kind. It was respectful. It was done proactively instead of reactively. And for a split second, it felt weird. Like, oh, did I just make them mad? Definitely ran through my mind. But the split second ended with a hearty, girl, good for you for setting boundaries. Yeah, I talk to myself all the time. It's okay. This looks different in every situation for every person. For some big seasons, there aren't really any boundaries that need to be set. For others, there's a lot of boundaries. For some, it's in between the two. Taking a little bit of quiet time to think about what you need to draw some lines and doing so in advance can help protect relationships and your own well-being. So yeah, it can definitely be uncomfortable, but that cost is a decent price to pay for what it buys us. Takeaway number 6. Don't lose sight of your wins when you're looking at the bigger picture. On launch day, after a few sales of the course had been made, I received an email from Podia, our course platform. The email was automated, I know, but the contents were impactful nonetheless. It read, quote, looks like you just had a sale on Podia. That's awesome. It's a big deal. Sometimes the big successes don't feel as big as they should because you're focusing on achieving something even bigger. But you should know this is a big deal. A lot of people never make it as far as having something to sell, but you did. End quote. Call it launch day nerves if you want, but that email brought tears to my eyes. I thought, you're right, Spencer from Podia. This is a big deal. It is really easy to get hyper-focused on a bigger goal. You're like, sweet, we did this huge big thing. We got the ball rolling, but now we really need it to fly. We don't sit in the success of the first step for very long. And while we have to be strategic about what it looks like to move forward, and we do have to figure out how to make things go from rolling to flying, we really should stop and savor that huge, big first win. The first performance, the first course, the first blog post, the first day of work, the first big pitch. The firsts are the start of something beautiful. We all hope that beautiful involves success, but it will also hopefully involve lessons, gratitude, and growth. One of the ways that you can help ensure that you don't skip the big first win is to schedule time to celebrate. On course night, we ate one of our favorite meals and cheered with some sparkling wine friends had recently gifted to us. It was a perfect evening to commemorate a job well done and to celebrate the firsts. For we knew that the next day would be filled with more strategic pivots. Okay, and to land the plane, our final takeaway, number 7. Plan for the aftershock. I am recording this podcast on Monday, 5 days after the launch of the course, and wouldn't you know it, I have a cold. I didn't plan on this, but I absolutely should have. In fact, on Thursday after course launch, hubby said, "Are you going to get sick now?" It's literally how my body responds to immense stress once it has been released. I'm pretty sure if I went through high stress in a sanitary bubble, I'd still get sick when I came out. Getting a cold isn't what happens to all of us. Some people need to sleep for 18 hours or they get super cranky for a day or two. Some people get really quiet. What is it for you? How does your body respond to stress? Whatever your thing is, it's important to plan for it on the other side. That doesn't mean that we have to stop living life, but for example, knowing this is my body's stress response, I should probably avoid planning a big family vacation for the week following an out-of-the-ordinary large full season. Friend, thank you so much for tuning in today and for joining me on the journey through the ups and downs and everything in between of launching our first ever course. The Productivity Playbook is truly a labor of love created to empower you with tools for balance, routine, and productivity that serve your life. Remember, whether you are launching something new or just trying to make it through a busy season, take those small but impactful steps to stay grounded. Set boundaries, fuel yourself, celebrate the wins, and let the little joys motivate you along the way. And if the Productivity Playbook sounds like a good fit for you, you can find all the details of the course to start your journey towards a more harmonious life on our website, inspiringheights.org/courses. Until next time, here's to thriving, not just surviving.
And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Do you have questions, comments, or insights on today's content? I would love to hear from you. You can DM me on Facebook or Instagram, or head over to our website, inspiringheights.org, and click on the Contact Us form. I will link all those locations here in the show notes. P.S. If you haven't already, I would love for you to leave a 5-star rating and a quick review of the podcast. This helps get our content in the hands of new listeners. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter and follow us on social media for rhythmic doses of inspiration. All right, friends, take a deep breath and be inspired where your feet are. Bye for now.